Okay, good evening, everybody. Hopefully the audio is working this time. I'm going to go ahead and talk about point slope form, which is a new way of writing it. This problem here, or this technique, I don't have a preference over this and the stuff I've already been teaching you. So if you like the old stuff, you can use that. If you like this new stuff, it makes more sense to you, you can use that. I am showing it to everybody because there are some teachers you'll come across who have a preference towards point slope. I don't have a preference, so whichever way you want to use it. Okay, so we're going to get started here. And point slope form is a little bit different than the other form, which is slope intercept. Hopefully we already know that the equation of a line written in slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That still works, valid. I believe you're probably getting pretty decent at this time to know, hey, look, there's my m, there's my m. Plug that in for that right there. There's my x, there's my x, there's my y, and you can solve for b. It still works. This is just a little bit different form, and so for this one, what we're going to use is we're going to use this formula, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now, it kind of looks that y2 minus y1 or x2 minus x1, but that's not it. Since this y right here, and this x right here do not have a subscript like that, and that means they are just straight variables, and this y actually right here is the same as that y right there. It's going to be in my equation. And this x right here is like that x right there. We will be replacing this y1 and this x1 with those values right there. So you'll see that in just a second here. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. So what we do then is we say, okay, well, I know that this m right here must be the same as that m right there, so I can plug that in. So that becomes 2. And then I have the y minus y2. So I need to recall that the x is right here and the y is right there. And so this is my y1 and that's my x1. So I can now plug those in. So I end up with y minus -3 is equal to 2 times x minus 4. Okay, and that is the slope-intercept form right there. That's what it looks like. Y minus -3 equals 2 times x minus -4. Now, of course, we can manipulate this and we can do some things with it. So this would be y plus 3 is equal to 2x minus 8. And then if I want to get y by itself, I would subtract 3 from both sides, and I get y is equal to 2x minus 8. So I still can change it into a y-intercept form, but if I want to leave it as point slope form, the answer would be this. Y minus -3 equals 2 times x minus 4. That is point slope form. Okay, so that's the first type. So if they say write this in point slope form, there we go. And you can see that it is still related to y equals mx plus b form. I can do that if I take it a little bit further. All right, take a look at the next slide here. Now what they've done is they've given me the point slope form. So we're going to use point slope form to help us graph a line. So what I would do then is the first thing I would do is underneath my given equation, just like I did with y equals mx plus b, I'm going to write y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now that I have it written directly underneath, I can see, okay, here is my y1 and here is my x1. All right, so I'm going to write that as a point. And we need to be careful here because since this is y minus y1 and this is plus 2, that means the number that must have been plugged in here must have been a negative 2. So this basically says the opposite of that. This symbol right here says the opposite of what you had before. So the opposite of 2 is negative 2. Okay, and then over here, since these are the same sign, that means it's going to stay the same. So the opposite of negative 3 gives me positive 3. So there's my x and my y, there's my point. And then the easy part is the slope. And the slope is going to be m is equal to, and that's of course right there, 2/3. Okay, now if I want to graph this, I can graph it. I'm going to draw it out here, and it's not going to be great because I don't have graph paper, and I looked online and I couldn't find any, so you'll have to forgive my graph. I know you guys are using graph paper, even though I am not. Okay, and so if I'm going to graph this point, then what I do first is I plot my point. It's not my y-intercept, but I go ahead and plot this point right here. Plot that point like normal. So I say 1, 2, 3, and then down 2, right to there. Okay, so that's that first point, and then I do my slope. And my slope is going to be, for this one, because it's positive, it's a rise over a run. So I'm going to rise 2, 1, 2, and then run 3. 1, 2, 3 to right there. So I put it like that, and then I rise 2, 1, 1, 2, and run 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, I apologize for not having better graph paper, but there's my line. Okay, so I can graph this using the point slope form. All I have to do is recognize what the point is and what the x is. I hope you wrote some fifth color about this. This is the trickiest thing right here. Why that is negative 2. That's negative 2, so that when I plug it into this red equation right here, it would give me a positive 2. If I made that a positive 2 right here instead of a negative, when I plug it in there, that would be y minus 2 instead of y plus 2. Okay, so that's the second type, and then we're going to take a look at one more type here, and that one is this one, which is when we're given 2 points, how do we write the point slope form? Okay, given 2 points, how to write point slope form. So I'm going to go ahead and write out the equation that we'll be using again, and that equation, like before, was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so there's my formula. Y minus y1 equals m times m minus x1, x minus x1. And in order to do this problem, what we need to have is we need to have both the slope and a point, right? So I see points given to me there. I don't see the slope. So I'm going to go ahead and find my slope first. Pretty much whenever you're given 2 points, you should always try and find the slope. We're going to need that for our equations. You can do this a couple of different ways. I saw a little bit of confusion today in class, so I'm going to do it using a t-chart, and my t-chart is going to look like this. X here and f of x here. And if you're not sure if it's okay to put f of x there and you think, why isn't that a y? Remember, f of x and y are the same thing. So this right here represents y. Anytime you have f of x, that's just like writing the letter y. So now I can plug in, and for my x values here, I have negative 1, and over here y equals 4, and I have 1 and 2. Okay, now I'm going to find the slope of this, and so my delta y and over delta x, so my delta y goes up by 2, and my delta x goes down by 2, so then my slope is equal to negative 2 over 2, which is equal to negative 1. Okay, so slope is equal to negative 1, and this is of course going to be a fall over run. Okay, so there's my slope. Now all I need to do is pick one of my 2 points. Doesn't matter which one I pick. I could pick this one or this one and plug them in for y and x. Since I have my choice, I'll almost always pick the one it is all positive. So I'm going to plug that into my equation. And I'm going to rewrite my equation again so that I have it easy to plug into. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so my y is equal to right here, and that's my x. So that's 2 equals, and my m is equal to negative 1 times x minus 1. Alright, so over here then I get y minus 2 equals, and now I'm going to multiply through negative x plus 1. Technically, this is my answer right here. That is my answer. That is the point slope form when I'm given 2 points. Y minus 2 equals negative x plus 1. Okay, and what I did here, in case you didn't notice it, was I did the distributive property. Negative 1 times x gives me negative x, and negative 1 times positive 1 gives me 1. So this would be my point slope form. I know it seems weird, but if they ask you to write it in point slope form, that's where you would need to stop. Now, if they ask you for y equals mx plus b, then your next step would be to add 2 to both sides. So you get y equals negative x plus 3. And so that would be my y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so 2 different forms that you can write them in, and I don't care which one you use. If you like using y equals mx plus b, great. If you prefer using the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, great as well. Okay, see you guys tomorrow.